Hello guys and welcome back to Crack a Pack, the channel that we talk about all things magic and D&D. I'm here with my lovely friend Jared. Say hello, Jared.
Hello guys, welcome to the channel.
Yes, today we're going to be talking about bears, and not that type of bears. We're going to be talking about 2 for 2s in the Brothers War. Pretty excited about this new set. I'm a big fan of Urza, big fan of, who's the other one?
I haven't seen, so these will be new to me. I haven't seen any of the spoilers, so I'll be reacting brand new to them, so we'll see. And for us, will be kind of perspective on Commander players and how we rate them in Commander games and what we do and with our friend groups.
Yeah, definitely. We both have a big love for Commander. Been playing for a fair while. I started playing in Battle for Zendikar. Started drafting then. That was a good time. And yeah, now we're big into Commander. We both have like 20 decks each. We're kind of obsessed, spending all our income on Commander. So we're going to look at the bears in the new set and we're going to see what we think. I kind of play a bit of draft, so I kind of have a little bit of a draft background, but definitely we'll be talking about Commander a lot. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get it started. First up, we got Argothian Sprite.
So Argothian Sprite reads, it's a 1 and a green, it's a creature fairy, it's a 2/2. Argothian Sprite can't be blocked by artifact creatures, and then for 7 mana of any colour, put 2+1/+1 counters on this card.
And it's a 2/2, obviously, being a bear, which some of these, we've got a couple of categories, we'll just start with the bears, but
So it's also a common, so
it is common, so pauper legal, can't be blocked by artifact creatures. I haven't looked at a lot of the new set, there might be a few artifact creatures around, you know.
But just in Commander generally, you don't see too many in general. Plus, a 7 cost mana is kind of expensive for. I mean, unless you get like you can put it in like a token deck, and then you can pump it, and then have like doubling season to double it and whatnot.
Yeah.
Then it could be. And then if you're also playing it in a deck that makes triggered abilities cheaper.
Yes. Activated abilities.
Activated,
yep.
sorry. If activated abilities cheaper, then I could see it working better. But as it is, I realise as just by itself, it could work well, but it's not going to be like one I would play it, or I don't think you would play it.
Yeah, no, probably not. Like, you know, a bear's good in draft, but its activated ability I don't see basically ever getting activated. Are you familiar with the Urza's lands?
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously being about Urza in this set.
Well, as it does say in its text box.
Yeah, no, Urza notes to his engineers: make the exhaust vent smaller next time. That's that could be good for Star Wars as well, actually. It's all about 7 mana, you know. So 3 lands to do 7 mana, get a plus, put 2 counters on it. If you can do that every turn, I guess that's good, but only that exact circumstance.
But
so.
also, in Commander, you kind of want to play 7-drop spells.
Oh, absolutely.
Like my Commander Morophon, that's a 7-drop 6/6 that can do a lot of crap. And that's a lot more than that. But.
And I've got a kind of rating system we can do as well. Gas or ass, I think. Gas being great, ass being terrible. So I think as a bear, it's a bear with no upside. It's ass. Yes, definitely. Okay, next up we got Fauna Shaman. Fauna Shaman reads, 1 and a green. Elf Shaman, I can pay a green and tap it. Discard a creature card. Search your library for a creature card. Reveal it and put it into your hand. Then shuffle, and it's a 2/2.
So a lot of people will know these cards. It's a rare. It's a staple in a lot of decks that search. Even in just I think when I was making my Uru deck, I was suggesting to put Fauna Shaman in, so I can search out creatures and just put them, and so I'm not getting, so I can get more lands to play and do shenanigans with that.
Yeah.
There's also a way to like to fill up cards for that need graveyard text and whatnot.
Yeah, very good in your Uru deck, actually. Yeah, so this is a reprint, is it? Yeah, I know.
It's very much a reprint. Yeah. I can't tell you what sets they're in and whatnot, but there's at least been a few reprints of it.
Yeah, I thought I've seen a character with a similar ability. Yeah, no, not bad. Like, obviously cycling through pretty average cards to find the best one in your decks, awesome. Commander is actually pretty viable. Draft is
very viable in Commander.
Search your library for creature card. So you don't actually go down cards. It's just kind of tutoring for your best creature in the deck.
It's a net. It's not. It's a net equal or net zero. It doesn't,
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
losing a card, but you're gaining a card back, which
Yep.
could be at the time. Like you have a 10 drop in hand, you can't play it turn 2,
Mm.
but you can't play it soon, so you stack it, you discard it,
Mm.
then get another one that you can play and help continue on with your plays.
Yeah, definitely. So gas? Gas?
Definitely,
Yeah.
yes.
Awesome. Okay.
This one, next one is Felden Ronim Excavator. It is a 1 red. He's a legendary creature, human artificer, and he is a 2/2, obviously, for the bears. He has haste. Felden Ronim Excavator can't be blocked, which
Can't block.
can't,
Yep.
can't block.
Yep. That's right.
Whenever Felden is dealt damage, exile that many cards from the top of your library. Choose one of them until the end of the turn. Until the end of your next turn, sorry, and you may play that card.
So, one commander we're both thinking of, and we'll say it in 3, 2, 1. Layla.
Yep.
Yeah, we both have a Layla deck. This is awesome.
MTGA, yep.
Yes. I've got one in real life too. This is an awesome card. Haste, sick. It's coming in at turn 2. Can't block. You're probably not going to want to block. This is going to be really good in mono red, especially in standard and
Yeah.
pioneer. Card advantage is amazing. Obviously, it's impulse drawing, so it's not, I guess, technically not card advantage, but more card selection.
And it's also a generic human, which can pretty much almost go on any type of deck as well.
Very
it's
true.
not. It's also a legendary creature, so if you need to, you know, as a commander.
Yep.
Generally, you probably wouldn't, just because there's other cards that will do better
Definitely.
and more and much more effective.
Awesome. Yep. Well, I think this is gas for sure.
I reckon in the right decks will be gas.
Yeah, awesome. Alright, next up we have Horned Stone Seeker. This is a lizard with Menace. 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, create a tapped Power Stone token. For those that don't know, the Power Stones are a colorless mana rock that only tap for artifact spells. It also, when it leaves the battlefield, you sack a Power Stone, so there you go. While this bad boy sticks around, you're going to have an extra mana for artifacts, and a 2/2 with Menace. That's awesome. It beats any other bear they hold up to block.
It is also 1 and a red as well, for those who didn't know. It's
Yeah. Yep.
Menace is good, but it's also. I feel like also depending on what you want to do, and you can only get 1 Power Stone which comes in tapped. Depends if you're playing artifact decks or not with it.
True. Power Stones, as we found out in a game we had online, you generated 20 Power Stones, but you didn't have any artifacts to cast, so
Yes.
they didn't do a lot. That was from the Khan card.
Yes.
Yeah, this is alright. Like, it's probably going to be played more in draft than anything else. I can't imagine this really being
And
played.
also, when it dies, you have to sacrifice one too. So
Yeah, so
I
you
mean,
get it
still
for a little bit.
You also still get to tap it before you sack it anyway, so you'll still get the
True.
mana from it.
Yep.
But having Menace, it will make it harder to kill. But there's so many kill spells in Magic, and especially in Commander.
Definitely.
And there's what, about 50 board wipes a game sometimes.
Yeah, like, not good in Commander unless you're doing a very specific artifact build.
And if you can
Even
recur
still.
as well, it'll
Yeah.
be good. Because like if you can flicker it or whatnot, I reckon if you could flicker it and exile it and return, or even just burn it and return it, I reckon it could be actually pretty solid.
Okay.
So depending on like say a specific kind, like an artifact flicker deck, I reckon it could be pretty decent. But then again, it's also depending, because yes, you have to sacrifice a Power Stone when it leaves, but you flicker it, you make 1, then you pretty much tap the mana, bring it back, and you'll keep getting pretty much almost.
True. It does enter tapped though, is the
Yeah.
only thing. So you have to find a way to untap it, but not too bad. Like
Yeah.
mana generation and menace. Like I view a lot of the bears as if they could beat the other bears, and having to block with 2 things often is not relevant. So not bad, but not great.
I
It's
reckon-
kind of, I guess it's
Specifically, I reckon it'll be like the middle so far from what we've seen.
yeah. We need a
Like-
third category for neither. Mild ass maybe.
Generic ass.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
Okay, this one is Misery's Shadow. It is a 1 and black. It's a creature shade, and it's a 2/2, obviously. It's a rare. It's if a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead, and pay for 1. Misery Shadow gets +1/+1 until end of turn. This could be broken.
This is unreal. This is one of my favorite cards that I've seen so far. I've only looked at the bears primarily, but generic mana to put it +1/+1, not +1 -1, +1/+1 until end of turn.
And then if a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it.
So just relevant for sticking around. You play it turn 2. If they don't play a blocker, you play a land for turn 3. You hit them for 5.
And
Like-
as Riley knows, having creatures exile is a pain in the ass.
Yes, especially when you're playing a reanimator deck. Jared's got me with that a fair few times, and it hurts every time.
That was incidental because of another person's perspective, but that's fine. That's
Yeah. So obviously, if you have 1 mana up, it can beat any other bear in the game,
For
which
sure.
makes it one of the best bears I've seen.
And also, being black, this creature's going to die all the time, so its effect's always going to go up.
True.
And you can also give it, there's ways to probably give it, Swamp Walk or whatever.
True.
To make it unblockable
Yep.
as well. Because I reckon this would work well in almost any deck with black in it if you can get it.
Especially if you can start doing the Cabal coffers, like, making your black a lot more than it
Yeah.
is. You can pump this up like so many times. You can be swinging for 20 very soon in Commander. And yeah, I imagine if you board wipe with this, all the creatures your opponent's control will get exiled because it sees them die, I think. I'd have to check that, but
I reckon it would trigger because they'll enter the graveyard at the same time. The triggers would go off and they would all exile.
yeah, that's pretty sweet. So a way to keep your opponent's board off the board permanently is not bad at all.
So I reckon this is arse. Nah.
This is
definitely
gas. This is the gas.
As soon as I read it, I'm like, that's definitely broken.
I was excited for you to see this one. This one is very good.
I can see this one being one of your main ones you'll play against me too.
And we have only one more bear. We do have a couple other categories we'll get into, but this will be the end of our bear cycle. So lastly, we've got
Thraxodemon.
Thraxodemon. There you go. That's very 1 and a black demon. You can pay 3 to sack another creature or an artifact to draw a card, and it's a 2/2. It's a bear. What do you think about this bad boy?
Just reading it, it doesn't sound too bad, but then you're paying 3. And to sack another creature, depending on what creature, like with if you're working it with the other card that we just read, you can then sack that, and then let's say when this card gets destroyed or something, sack another, everyone sacks a creature or something,
Yeah.
and then you can see it piling off well.
True.
But you have to pay 3 to sack another creature to draw a card.
Yeah.
Which, paying 3 to sack a creature and then or it could be an artifact. If it's in the artifacts, I reckon it could be quite well if you did it with an artifact, because a lot of players have like quick, like once they get useless, they have no way of getting rid of it.
I mean, with Horned Stoneseeker, you could sack the artifact and then sack the creature.
Yeah,
Essentially turn that into 2 cards. But obviously 3 mana for 1 card, and you have to go down a permanent isn't great.
no.
It is a common, so it's fine.
Unless you can activate its ability with like Mind Stone or another one where when you sack it, you can say, okay, I'm going to sack it anyway. So I'm going to sack it to. Well, then you're not sacrificing it.
Yeah,
to that cost.
it would be part of the cost, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
I think that because its instant speed is good, if your creature's going to die anyway, at least you can
You can
profit.
sack it and then to.
But often holding out 3 mana for that's not great when you could just cast,
But what's bad
another
is
bear.
It can't sack itself as well to it.
Yes.
If it could sack
True.
itself as well, because that's going to get targeted. Probably won't get targeted because it's not. I reckon it's an arse card.
Yeah.
But if you do play it, it's going to get targeted because it's like 3 tap it to draw a card and you have to sack a creature.
Yeah.
It's not sacrificing itself. Which for me, if it sack itself to its own ability, I reckon it could work more. But
Yeah. And it's obviously a tap ability as well, so you got to wait a turn cycle. Yeah, it's not great. It's a bear. At the end of the day, these are bears. They're not bad overall. But since its abilities aren't really that flashy, let's say ass.
it is definitely.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
anyway.
All right. So we've got an almost bears category. We've also got a better bears and an honorable mentions category.
Let's
So,
go almost bears.
we'll go with almost bears. It's actually a lot more than bears.
Yeah.
But we'll try to burn through these pretty quickly.
So we've got Ashnod's Harvester. It's a 2-drop. It's an artifact creature construct, which is a 3/1. So if you split it out, it still adds up to 4. So it is technically a bear.
I think while it's bigger than a bear and you're gonna hit harder, it does die to a bear.
Yeah.
Which doesn't technically
bears
make
still
it, but-
trade.
Yeah, correct.
So whenever Ashnod's Half-Zero attacks, exile target card from a graveyard. It's got Unearth, 1 and a black, which Unearth is return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste, exile at the beginning of the next end step, or it would leave the battlefield Unearth only as a sorcery. So I can see this working quite well because you pay 2, you get it out, you're splitting it anyway, it's probably going to die. It's just because it's an attack trigger, it's not having to do damage, so I can see since it's an
True.
attack trigger, you exile a card from a graveyard. It can be really good depending
Yeah.
on what that person's playing.
Like if they've got an Uru in their bin, I'm losing him every day of the week to get rid of that. Like that's
for
great.
sure. I agree with you for sure. Just swing with it, get rid of the Uro. If it's someone's commander, chuck it, I'll just put it in the command zone, yes. But it's not in the bin, so they can't just bring it back with the ability.
What I've just noticed as well is it says exile target card from a graveyard, so you
So
don't even have to attack the person you're exiling.
No, it's
in
and you can even choose your
multiplayer.
own. So
True. Yeah.
if you've got a card that say, I don't know exactly.
Like
but
Layla counts if you get rid of your graveyard, for
Yeah.
instance. Obviously, it's got black in its cost, but if you had them both in a deck, they would complement each other.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon, even if it's unearthly abilities, 1 in the black, you get to do it again.
With
and,
haste, yeah.
And it's also getting end of the turn, so you're getting almost 2 triggers guaranteed. You're getting rid of 2 cards that could possibly come back, depending on what
Definitely.
the person's playing. And in Commander, there's so many ways to bring things back.
Definitely.
And there's probably ways you don't know the way things can come back because they're probably old as crap. And
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's not one we see a lot anymore, so it's pretty cool to bring that back. I think the only downside of it, apart from its dying to a 1/1 token, is the black in its unearth cost does limit it in Commander.
it does, yes.
but I
you'd
guess,
rather
yeah.
spend it on other things. But
Absolutely. I would like to see some generic mana unearth.
well,
That
it
would
is
be
an
pretty sweet.
artifact creature too, so it
Yeah.
works well with other cards that have been released for this set.
True.
So going back with like the other bears, it correlates well with being an artifact. You can
Yeah.
you can attack with it before it dies, sack it.
True.
So when you get your trigger, and then you
Yeah.
get another trigger from sacking it.
True. You could even unearth it just to sack it if you really needed card draw. Not bad. Not bad. I don't know if it's gas per se. Somewhere between the two. I'm gonna think of a third category.
It's mid tier.
Mid. Yeah, just mid. It's fun.
So you got gas, arse, and pass.
Yeah, gas, ass, and pass. I love it.
So it passes just.
Yeah, definitely. Alright, so next up we got Mine Worker. Cute little boy. Artifact creature, assembly worker. So that's relevant for a lot of the Mishra lands. Tap it to gain a life. If you control creatures named Power Plant Worker and Tower Worker, you gain 3 life instead. And this boy is unfortunately a 2/1. So, dies to bears, dies to 1/1 tokens.
It
Almost
also
a bear.
kills bears.
It also kills bears, gains life, gains a lot of life if you have the 3 workers set up.
Are the other ones? Are we going to cover the other ones? Or they?
I did have a look at them. I don't think they're bears. One of them, I think, gains counters, and one of them gains mana.
So one. Depending on what the other, since I don't know what the other cards
yeah.
do,
Yeah.
having the other 3, if you're playing an artifact deck, I'm guessing they're artifacts.
Yeah.
You probably all play them together. If
True.
you play one, you have to kind of play all 3 of them, kind of like the Urza lands. But gaining 1 life, you gain 1 life, and as most Magic players know, life is a source of casting and stuff.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
not
definitely
like-
a resource. Yeah.
So then also you can gain 3 life for having the other 2 out. And if it's an artifact, and you can probably cheat it out in artifact decks, and you can also probably tap it with other artifact abilities because of the shenanigans there.
Yeah.
So I reckon it could do quite well.
Not bad. I think, like, depending if the others are also common, it's probably only going to be played in Pauper outside of Draft.
And outside of Commander, if you're playing artifact, like
Yeah.
if you want to try and do like a janky artifact deck or
Sure.
something.
And, like, while they're kind of cool, they're just... It's like the crown, the scepter, and the chair. 3 artifacts that complement each other much the same. They are cool, but like by the time you get them all out, people are casting Expropriate. Like, you've got to find them in a 100-card deck, and they're not game ending or really game turning. They're just good value.
So
So-
would you say what?
I think I'd say ass. Yeah, like I feel like
I'd probably
life
say
is
like pass because
Yeah.
in the mid tier because I reckon just passes with depending on what the other 2 do. If the other 2 are terrible, then it's going to be ass for
sure.
sure.
Yeah, Yeah.
But depending on, I reckon pass at best, arse at worst. It's not going to be gas at all.
Yeah, fair enough. Awesome. Let's get to the next one. All right.
So
One of my files is corrupted, so we'll just skip ahead.
So the next one is third path Iconoclast class. Sorry, it's about butchering that.
Iconoclast. Yeah, I don't know. Fantasy words.
Iconoclast.
Yeah.
It's a blue and a red. It's a human creature. It's a human monk. It's a 2/1, so it's as again it can die to a bear, but it can also kill bears. So it's not like it's too bad at the moment. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token.
And he casts a non-creature spell, so it's Sahili, as a man almost. She makes servos when it happens. Soldiers.
And artifact creatures as well. So back with the other cards, it correlates with other cards that come out from the set that wants to do stuff with artifacts.
True. Pretty cool in a storm deck. Pretty cool in just a spell slinging deck. Just obviously, with spell slinging, the big downfall is getting aggroed because you don't get a lot of bodies on board. I guess
this adds a body
exactly.
to it, and
Yeah,
you're getting more 1/1s, so it's. And then if you do have the way to make the artifacts, you can artifact working, but you can use artifacts to tap for lands.
true. Yeah, Urza does that, I think, as well. Yeah. There's a few ways to do it, and like even there's like the one in the
Metal
green
crafting
one.
or metalworking.
Yeah, and there's like an enchantment that
Yeah.
made some tap for any color. Yeah, so a few ways to turn that into mana, which obviously in spell singing is great. You can give them haste as well. Like every time you cast a spell, you get a mana rock basically. Like that's gas. This card is pretty good. Obviously the restriction is it's a red and a blue, so you're gonna have the right mana. Obviously in a red and blue deck, it's not going to be too big of an issue.
No,
In a multicolor, that sometimes is harder to get.
4 or 5 colors will be not as great, but in like 3 and 2, it'll be quite good.
Yeah.
Especially making artifact tokens, not
Yeah.
creature tokens, because there's so many uses for artifacts nowadays. It's just gonna. I could almost slot it into even just like Prismari.
Yeah, yeah. And I think like the threat of just having it sitting up is great because like they're not going to want to swing their bear into you, or like they might swing their 1/1s hoping you'll trade stupidly. But the longer this guy sits back, the more blockers you're going to get on board. 2 spells later, you can already kill another bear with these little friends. So
And it's also in colors for Spellslinger and like quick.
Yeah.
Like in 1-drop instant sorceries.
Yep.
It's in the colors for it.
Yeah,
So-
definitely true.
Especially when you got like lightning bolt, shock.
Yeah.
I mean, shock probably not played as much. I like shock just because that's what when I was starting, that was out and that was in the set that I was playing with. So it's just like, just got shocked and just kept getting them.
Yeah, nice. It does die to shock, sadly, but even a bear would as well. So shock is the bear's worst nightmare. So I think this is pretty gas.
I reckon it could be gas too.
Cool. Go ahead. Or did you? I think Scrap Work Mutt. It's a 2 generic mana. Awesome artifact creature dog. When it enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card, and it's unearthed for 1 and a red, and it's a 2/1. So trades with bears. Rummage when it enters, not bad. It's almost
And
like a
it's-
faithless looting if you
It's
spend
also
4 mana.
a may. You don't have to.
That's relevant. Yeah.
Because if you like the cards in your hand, you don't have to do it. And
True.
there's probably lots of cards that like to be discarded and you want in your graveyard anyway. So you're getting rid of one, and then you're getting so it's almost like a double positive from that perspective. But the unearth being 1 in a red, it has to be in a red deck. It can't just be in colorless now for its unearth ability.
True. The unearths seem to be in colors. There must be a cycle of them. I actually like this. I would play this in draft if I drafted it, in limited if I drafted it. Just trying to rummage through your deck is very important in limited events. In Commander, I would probably only play it in my Boros Oskia deck that reanimates and does a lot of stuff like that because you want stuff in the bin. This actually would be pretty good for that. But what are you thinking for like generally for Commander?
Generally for Commander, it's as you said, rummaging is always good. You can get rid of a card you don't need in hand at the current time. It's a 2-drop, so if you're playing it in your second turn, you don't need a 5/6 drop card right now.
True.
You can discard it. There's ways to get it back in the deck probably if you're playing discard anyway. So you're drawing a card to try and either further your players or you just draw a card anyway for advantage. So
Not bad. I can imagine like a pauper deck of all these, like a 5 color artifacts pauper decks, because these are all commons and they're not bad.
Yeah.
Like a 2 something for 2 is obviously pretty good.
Yeah.
If they don't have blockers early, you just start pumping them, and you get to rummage a bit. Not bad overall. Like I'm gonna say gas. I'm gonna say gas.
I reckon if you also, as I said earlier, flickering it and also
True.
reanimating it, as Riley was saying, it's going to make a lot more value, and it can make it at times where you need the extra draw and you have a dead card in hand. You can just go, alright, I was going to reanimate Scrapwork Mark, discard that card, draw a card, and hope for a better hand and draw. So I reckon it could be. I reckon in the right deck, it's definitely gas.
Lovely. All right, let's go on to the next one.
The next one is Tomarkle on a guard. It is a 1 and a green, and it is a 3/1. So as with the first one, it's a 3/1, so it still adds up to 4. So it will still die to bears, but it can still kill bears. And it has Ward 2. So if you don't know what Ward does, whenever this creature becomes a target of a spell or ability, an opponent controls counter it unless that player pays 2, which is what the Ward 2 means.
Yeah, obviously Ward is great, better than something that makes it cost 2 more because it's a triggered ability. So your opponent essentially can't take it back because
they can't.
you can call it, call a judge. It actually goes on the stack. You can't just change your mind. It's already happened, kind of deal. It's kind of like a sneaky way to make sure they mess up, but I'll take any advantage I can get.
But also, no one's really going to target this for a spell unless it's a generic board wipe. It's not, for me, it's a card I'm not going to worry about. Yes, it hits me for 3, but as soon as I can get something up to block, it's not going to do much after that.
Absolutely.
But as we've said before, it is a human, so it can almost go in almost any deck. And then...
Yeah, it would, it hits hard until it doesn't. If it was a 3/2, it would be a very different story.
For sure.
But 3/1, dies to a 1/1 token. It's not great.
For me, I would call this arse, just because it's a 3/1. Yes, it has Ward 2, but who's going to target this with a...
Very true. I didn't really think about... No one's going to want to shoot it down. They're just going to put up a blocker.
Yeah.
It does trade up, though. Like, that's pretty good. You can use it as a blocker to, kill a 3/3.
Yeah.
Not bad.
You can do that.
That
and
way.
It does have that effects, but for me, I play a 5-color human tribal deck. I wouldn't play this at all in that deck.
Yeah.
For me, this has no value. It's got no... Why would anyone want to target it anyway? Unless I have a creature that says steal the abilities from another card.
True. Yeah, true. Like gains Ward.
I don't think that humans have a way to do that, or they probably do, but I don't know. I haven't seen. And
yeah. So not Commander unplayable basically, unless it's a very specific tiny leaders deck or something. Draft, not bad. It's essentially a bear. Yeah, I'm gonna say. I was thinking it was good, but you put some good points up there. I'm gonna say it's arse or pass. I can't decide.
I'm gonna be saying arse just because. Yes, it's got Ward 2, but realistically, if you're playing a card, would you honestly target this card? For me, I'd always say no. I'd just rather block it and lose a creature.
Yeah.
Or just let it hit me for 3 and then just swing over it and do more.
Yeah. Especially in draft, most kill spells are at least 3 mana, so you're paying 5 to kill a 3/1. It doesn't feel great at all. Yeah. Alright, we'll move on. Next up, we've got Drafna, founder of Latnam. This guy is 1 and a blue, legendary creature, human artificer advisor. 1 and a blue, return target artifact you control to its owner's hand. Or 3 and tap, copy target artifact spell you control. And it's a 2/1.
See, 2 abilities, forget everything else. 2 abilities into 1 card. I'd almost say that's gas instantly.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Because 1 and a blue, it's already cost 1 and a blue in the first place. You don't have to tap it. You can turn it. Oh, someone's going to make you sacrifice that. 1 and a blue, I want to return it to my hand.
True.
Oh, you want to try target artifact you control to its owner's hand. So you could say it's an artifact that somebody's nicked or something, say like from Parko or something. You can then return it to your return target because it's your artifact. Yeah. Oh, no, it's you control, so Parko wouldn't work out. No.
Yes, good point. I think he looks like Dean from Supernatural.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah, like a fancy scholar Dean. Return target artifact you control its owner hand. I'm trying to think of a use that's. I'm trying to think of an artifact that would be good for that. Like,
I mean,
obviously, just
Soul
protection.
Ring to Soul Ring to Soul Ring, and get infinite mana from Soul Ring. If you've got infinite, if you can get, it's almost paying, but you just need the blue mana source to do that. It's almost constantly getting.
Yeah, if you could filter it, and make it one less, like there's cards that do that. There definitely could be a Soul Ring combo here. And then
Even
3
just-
mana to copy target. I mean, you'd obviously. Oh, okay. I should just read the card. You'd bounce them so you could cast them again and copy them.
So would this effect say? You have to say sacrifice one of the, what is it like? One of the 0-drop artifacts to come in. You tap it. You have to sacrifice it to use its ability. Could you do that in response to make it bounce your hand and still activate the
Typically,
ability?
no, because sacking often is part of the cost.
Yeah.
So before it even goes on the stack, it's gone.
Okay.
But this would actually be gas with Soul Ring because you would play Soul Ring, obviously do whatever you want with it. 1 and a blue, return it to its owner's hand, and when you cast it, copy it. Now you have 2 Soul Rings. Then you'd bounce the original Soul Ring back to your hand.
Yeah.
Cast the original Soul Ring. Now you have 3 Soul Rings if you copy it again. So it's eventually just building up your artifacts by making tons of token copies. The downside is obviously bouncing stuff to your hand.
And for 3 mana to tap it,
Copy
it's
target.
very. As a commander, I can see this working as a commander.
Yeah.
Because if you play it in like an artifact deck, a blue artifact deck,
Yeah.
I reckon it would work very well.
Like if you were to pay 3 mana to copy your artifact that you just packed that taps for 5, like
The Timeless Lotus.
yeah, you're laughing. Like you're literally just netting mana.
If you
Then.
even just getting any of the like the Gilded Lotuses, the other Lotuses that are in there,
Yep.
you're instantly going to get your thing. Yes, it will probably come in tapped, but you can get a free 5-drop that taps for 5 in Luberg.
Yeah. Just for 3 extra mana, you're getting now 10 mana on your next turn, is unreal. Yeah, this is gas. I'm gonna say it.
Yeah.
This is gas.
It's a very. It looks like it will be a cheap card for me too. I don't think. Yes, it's a rare, so it's not. I don't unless it's a rare, but I don't know. It's a
Yeah.
proper term for it, but I can't think.
I assume it's gonna be a bulk rare. I don't think it's gonna go up too much, but you never know with Commander. You put in the right deck, any cards can be unreal.
I reckon it would be a great budget deck because
True.
there's so many artifacts you can just budget artifacts.
Yeah.
Soul Ring's what $1 now, $2. It's
Yeah.
so cheap.
Pick up any precon, you get a Soul Ring. Like, well, not
Yeah.
any precon now, but
And
that used to be the case.
even in like a Sahili deck, this would work because you can keep copying the Thopters or the things, and then you can have more triggers. And what was that Prismari card we read earlier? The blue red, isn't that something to do with?
Yeah, non-artifact spells, so you're getting a free dude every time you're recasting the artifacts. It's not bad.
Yeah,
All right, let's move on.
not a problem. This is Power Stone Engineer. He is a 1 and a white for a creature human artificer, and he's a 2/1. So as we said, just a little bit of a poorer bear. When Power Stone Engineer dies, create a tap Power Stone token. So, as we've said earlier, you tap it and you can add a colorless mana to be spent on an artifact spell.
Yeah. Notably, doesn't leave when he dies. He gets it when it dies. So it's 2/1 for 2, and you get a little bonus when he dies. Not bad.
Yeah,
if
but
you
it's,
run artifacts.
but realistically, there's probably much better ways to do it and get Power Stone if you need them.
Very true. You're basically waiting for your dude to die to even start getting more mana just for artifacts. Like, if you put it like that, that's
In
a good point.
Commander, 2 life's nothing. You've got 40 life. No one's gonna worry about a little 2/1.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I didn't think it was too bad, but that's a very valid point. I'm gonna say it's ass straight away.
Just because it's a 2/1, it comes in. Yes, you can attack with it, but
Yeah,
realistically, it's either going to get exiled, board wiped,
yeah,
and yes, you'll get one later, but it's not going to be at a time where you really want it or need it.
yeah. You'd basically just be holding it up to chump block, and then get a token. So, oh well. Next one. Oh yeah, this one I'm excited about. Sardian Cliff Stomper. 1 in a red Minotaur Barbarian. This is a 0/4, so it looks very different than a bear, but it does have an ability. As long as it's your turn and you control 4 or more mountains, Sardine Cliff Stomper gets plus X plus 0, where X is the number of mountains you control.
So any mono red deck with Blood Moon.
Yeah, it's any mono red deck. Like, they'll be
Oh,
playing
yeah.
primarily mountains. Obviously, some utility lands. I'm thinking, like, in draft, if you can manage to go one color, it's often rare you can only be red, because everyone else will pick the good red cards as well. This is sick.
Yeah.
Like, a 0/4 blocker is, relevant. Obviously, you won't be blocking with it very often. But as soon as turn 4 hits, it's a 4/4
And
for 2. Sick. And it's only going to get exponentially bigger.
so mono red decks, this will be really good.
If it had haste, it would be unreal. Obviously, before turn 4, it's having haste isn't relevant, but I think that would be funny because of that. So it's kind of an investment for.
And you'll be playing at turn 2 anyway, or turn 1, depending on what you roll. You won't be playing it later on. Unless there's ways to give it haste, which there are, and a lot of ways. But like you play like Perforus, and you play it more
Yeah.
mid to late game.
Yeah.
And then you've got all this mountains out already.
Literally, yeah,
And you
this can
give it
be.
haste, and it's going to swing in for probably almost game, depending on
It's
it.
coming down to an 8/4 typically, in Commander. That's not CDH, so yeah, I think. I did not read the limitation before about the 4 lands. That kind of shocked me a little bit, but if you play mono red, this is gas. I think. Any other colors,
Sure.
it's if you're actually not playing mono red, it's very bad. So I would only play this in mono red gas. If not, I would probably pass it.
In 2 color, if you can get like the dual lands that have mountains and the other
True.
color and whatnot, then it's a possibility because you have like for me, if you'll need to figure out okay, what color is more important and how many lands and whatnot you need of a certain type. So if you're saying want to put this in, you're like okay, I need to put more mountains in for its effect, and you need to have the mountains anyway. But if it kind of kills the momentum in the dual color more. But there's more, like you can get dual color mountains and stuff, so it's still, yeah. I'd probably say it's, in mono red, it's gas, but anything else, it's probably a arse.
Yeah, fair call. Alright.
So we have got now, Yotian Dissident. It is a green and a white, it is a creature human artificer. So we can probably see in this set, there's going to be a lot of artifacts and artificers in this deck. Set. It's a 1/1. So it is a weak bear, but let's read its ability. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 on target creature you control. As soon as
Interesting.
so, if you play,
1 artifact, it becomes a bear. 2 artifacts, it's better than a bear already.
but what artifacts are good for green and white?
Yeah, good point.
But also,
Mana rocks,
most
I guess.
artifacts are colorless. If you play 5 color artifacts, artificer, that would probably be. Then you're almost kind of.
The only it definitely limits it being the colors, green and white to not being a generic mana in another color. But if you're playing this set, and there's a lot of power stones going around, it could be pretty good in draft. Definitely.
I reckon just by itself, I reckon it would be a good card because every deck pretty much is guaranteed to have artifacts in it.
Yeah.
Even if you have like 3 or 4, it's going to get that to some creature you can give it to if it's still out in the field.
True. Yeah. Doesn't have to be itself.
No.
Some commanders that require commander damage, any extra points
Yeah.
are very relevant. So if you can find a way to be flickering artifacts, you can. This is a nice little additive, and being in green, there's a lot of way to double counters. So it could become really relevant.
Season, hardened scales.
Yeah, play with Soul Ring and get 4 counters or something crazy like that. Like that's obviously the dream, but yeah, it's as long as you got artifact support, I think it's gas.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't play in anything else with artifacts.
True.
So.
Yeah. True. I'm playing mono artificers, no artifacts. That's crazy. I like these little dudes that are helping him out as well.
The artwork's really cool. I reckon in an artifact deck, it's great, but any kind of deck that has green and white and you play a couple artifacts, I reckon you could just almost slide it in if you don't have another card that could do better for you at the time.
Definitely.
It's even probably also a good budget budget card.
Yeah, if it was legendary, that would actually be a really fun build around.
If it was legendary, I'd probably make it into a commander. Try and make a jank artifact.
Yeah,
Deck.
yeah, that would be cool. If you could, yeah, even like Microsynth Lattice, like making everything an artifact, like and make tons of tokens that are all coming artifacts.
I'd almost even put that in my human deck, maybe.
True. I mean, you're casting it for free, so
Yeah,
not
well, if I
bad.
have Morophon out, even not turn 2, have that out, and I'm playing Sol Ring,
Yeah,
Arcane Signet,
Yep.
all the
yeah.
Timeless Lotus.
All of a sudden, Morophon's becoming a 10/10, so pretty gas.
So,
Awesome. So this is our next one's our last one from the almost bear category. We have Zephyr Sentinel. This bad boy is a 1 and a blue flash flying human soldier. 2/1. When it enters the battlefield, return up to one other creature you control to its owner's hand. If that was a soldier, put a 1/1 counter on Zephyr Sentinel. So the soldier clause, I think, is probably plot relevant to whoever this character is in the story.
for me, when it says Flash Flying as a 2-drop, even just like that, you can send it in quick, easy.
Flying,
Anyone's-
very relevant. Yeah.
And even with Flash as well, it's great because like, oh, you have no blockers up, and you've got 2 mana open. Just I'll just send this in to die.
Yep.
And when it enters the battlefield, return onto one other target creature you control. So if you want to say, oh, I'm going to block with this, but I want to return it to my hand, and then block this with something else. If you're going to, and then you'll have
Yeah.
the card that you back, and then you can send that in.
True. You could declare blocks and then flash it in and bounce that blocker so you don't lose them. It's almost never gonna be relevant unless, like, it's never gonna be relevant unless you're playing soldiers. The 1/1
Yeah.
ability.
And
Obviously,
how many
he's a
soldiers are
soldier.
written blue though?
Yeah, exactly.
And good
Yeah.
soldiers.
Yeah.
They're mostly Mardu or
Yeah.
Mardu.
I see a lot like white. Obviously, a lot of
White
good
and
soldiers.
black.
Azorius, like maybe, but I don't know. Just to put
probably
one
say-
1/1 counter on a creature is not great.
It's on itself.
Mm.
It's not on another target creature. It's on itself.
Oh, it's on itself. Yep.
So it makes it stronger than a bear, but it still dies to a bear.
True. 3/2. Yeah, still has to a bear. Flies over a bear's head.
You can also probably kill 3/3s as well, which will be good because a lot
True.
of flyers are 3/3 or 2/3
True.
or.
And the other limitation being it can only be your creatures. If it was any creature, this would probably be a rare. Like, get rid of the soldier mechanic and just bounce a creature for 2 and a flash flyer. That would be rare or mythic. But obviously there's some limitations here. That would just be such a good tempo play.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It has its
2/1
uses, but it's
flying
also.
flash.
It's very situational. If it wasn't too situational, it would be better, but since it's so situational, it's passed to asked.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think a 2/1 flying is good in limited, but I would almost never play this in any other deck in my whole life. So
If I had this in draft, I'd play it just because you can flash it in, and so I just
Yeah.
want like big creature,
Yeah.
just block it.
and they're on a timeline. Once you start swinging in the air, obviously, I've won a lot of draft games with flyers. Yeah. So, man, flavor like without the second ability, if it didn't bounce anything, I think that would be almost gas. But I'm gonna have to say pass now.
One also thing, it
Yeah.
says target. There's many ways like deflecting, swat, and other things to make you choose another target if you have multiple targets.
True. You can kind of get fucked up like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
And people can make a spell fizzle and make it useless, and then. So it's.
Yeah, no, very true. Awesome. Cool.
So the better bears.
We'll do better bears. This is the best category here. First up, we've got a really nice card, Blade Whip Transmogrant.
Transmogrant.
Transmogrant. It's very interestingly spelt word.
Why is it in a different language?
Yeah, the spoiler was in a different language, but it's down the bottom here. Blade Whip Transmorgan. It's a 2 generic mana 3/1 artifact creature. I'm not sure the creature type from this translation.
Looks like a zombie.
Yeah, it does look like that.
Well, it says zombie.
Yeah, Zombie. Yeah, true. So this creature can't block. 4 black. Return it from the graveyard to the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it. This ability costs 4 less to activate if the opponent controls 4 or more non-basic lands.
Which in command is almost a guarantee.
Very true. I can't actually remember why I put this in the better bear category.
So let's just see. So it can't block. You're not going to block with it anyway. It's a 3/1.
Yeah.
For 4 black, return this card from a graveyard to a battle with +1/+1 counter on it. So it's a 4/2. This ability costs 4 less to activate. So it's pretty much a double black. You get it back with a +1/+1 counter, and it doesn't exile, so you can keep bringing it back.
It'll always come back.
And then if you can also stack counters onto it and whatnot.
Yeah. I think I put it in this category because it doesn't trade with bears because it can't block, so technically you won't ever lose to a bear with it.
Unless they block you.
Oh yeah, true. That's also very true. But you can always bring it back, so that's not nothing. All right, they just get better from here. So next up,
So this one is Evangel of Synthesis, which is a blue and a black. It is a creature Phyrexian human cleric. It is a 2/3. So it won't die to bears, but it will kill bears.
correct, very good.
So when Evangel of Synthesis enters the battlefield, draw a card and discard a card. So again, you're pretty much.
Looting, which is strictly better than rummaging because you
And
know which card to discard.
it also, as long as you have drawn 2 or more cards this turn, Evangel of Synthesis gets a +1/+0 and has Menace.
So I think this is pretty cool. I'm trying to think of like what commander decks I would put it in. Like
Would you put
ninjas,
in
is it
Ura?
good?
No, it's like Yukiri.
Yukiro, yeah. I think probably not because you have to draw 2 more cards before it will get menace, and normally you just attack and start drawing cards after you or getting cards put into your hand from Yukiro.
This is as long as you've drawn 2 or more. So you get your
Yeah.
draw set, which is 1,
Yeah.
and then you play this, you draw 1, and then you discard 1, so that's 2.
Yeah, but he can't attack obviously the turn he enters.
No, but as he enters, he gets 2 or more. He gets +1/+1 has Menace.
Yeah.
So you can get it a way to has. I mean, if you say you do ninjutsu it in with say the
True.
the guy that gives ninjutsu to everything.
Yep. Yep.
So you're paying a blue or black to ninjutsu it in. You draw your second card. It gets +1/+0 and it has Menace. Just I mean, you're already attacking and it's probably already gone through, so you're not really gonna do much. So you get the extra draw, you discard. You
Yeah.
get the extra 1 damage.
Not bad, and you know if you can find a way to flash it in, it's a 3/3. If you've drawn something else, I guess.
Yeah.
Not bad overall. Beats bears. That's why it's in the better bear category. And it gives you a loot when you enter this. I think the second ability won't really be relevant.
No, not really.
I don't find drawing in the main phase is super relevant a lot of the time. But if you're doing a surveil deck, there's a deck I've seen in Commander a lot. It's like a Esper deck that whenever you discard a card, you put it under this commander and then you get them all back when it dies. So like something that benefits and helps that it would be really good. I can't think of the name, but things like that is going to be
just
good.
flickering it for its first effect
True.
over and over.
Yeah, flickering an Animatu deck for loots is not bad. It's not better than Muldrifter obviously,
No.
but what is, right?
Not many things.
Yeah. So what do you think on the scale? I don't think we rated the last one, but I think this is pretty gas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What was
limited,
the
it's
last
great.
one? We'll give it a quick. Oh, no, that's right. I reckon with the 4, just back to the Blade Whip Transmogren, I reckon this could be gas, but then it's also depending on other things. It could be will be more of a pass.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, trades up, but does die to a bear. Yeah, I think I'll actually say it's pass. I think I rated it higher when I put it in this folder than I do now, knowing what we know now. So, but Evangel of Synthesis, I definitely rate as gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, beats any other bear, and
And its
gives you
first
loots.
ability is
Yeah,
brilliant.
sweet. Second ability won't often be relevant, but if it is, it's great. You get Menace, cool. Why not? Awesome. This is one I'm really excited for. Take it away.
So this is Hajar, the Loyal Bodyguard. It's a red and a green. It is a legendary creature. It's a human soldier. Sacrifice Hajar, Loyal Bodyguard. Legendary creatures you control get +1/+0 and indestructible till end of turn. Instantly reading this, even if you're not looking at its stats, which is a 3/3, instantly going into my Marathon deck.
Yep, you rate it. Yep.
Just because with Marathon I can make my human creatures for free, especially since it's a red and a green.
Yep.
Then when this, I can sacrifice this and give all my legendary, which most of my humans are legendary in the deck,
True.
+1/+0.
Yep.
and indestructible, so I can swing in without having to worry about the crackback as much.
Yeah, I regret you actually seeing this card because now I don't want to see that happen. But 3/3 for 2/2. Thank you very much. That is awesome. Beats every bear. Beats every bear straight away. And packs a punch for 2 mana. Obviously, red and a green's a limitation, but I don't think his ability will ever be relevant in limited unless you do happen to draft, I guess, another legendary creature, having them both on the field and having someone try to blow that up, and then you can sack this. But often, I think just keeping a 3/3 is pretty good as well. It'd be good if it had some evasion or some protection.
We
but...
also just got a deck, precon, which is all about legendary cards and legendary stuff.
True.
So, if you can take that apart and have got some of the colours for this, just
slot this in. Slot this into any legendary creature matters deck, and it's going to be one of the best cards.
Or historic deck.
Yeah.
Historic cards.
Yeah. Even, could you build a commander deck around him?
You could. Because you can sack it for 2, bring it in for 4, sack it again, and you can keep...
True. Yeah, anytime someone tries to board wipe, you're gonna have protection, and that's from the commander zone. You can always get it back. It's not bad.
And for 4, this effect I would still like it even if it was for 4. It's a 4. What would be a 2 red and a green for 3/3?
Yeah.
Yes, its stats are bad, but its effects is so good. It's like it's got +1/+0, gains indestructible. You've got more chance of killing opponent's creatures. They're probably not going to a block because they're just going to die, and yours won't die.
Yeah, and how what value is not getting board wiped when all your opponents get board wiped? Invaluable
Exactly.
for sure.
But it's also, because all board wipes generally destroy. They don't exile. They don't.
Very true.
But it does go around sacrificing. So if you have to sacrifice, so
yeah, indestructible sacrifice don't work.
Most board wipes are just destroy all creatures or destroy these creatures, and then if you can give them indestructible, it's not going to work.
Yeah, very true. Great for board wipes when it isn't. Until when it isn't. But yeah, gas, 100%. Gas. You agree? Yeah.
And even if it isn't your commander, you can sack it for your commander.
True. And I imagine having just an Atali on the board. Someone tries to blow it up. I would lose this to save draw 4 cards every turn. Hell yes. Awesome. So next up we have Harbin, Vanguard Aviator. It's a blue and a white legendary creature, human soldier. So the soldiers coming into it.
What colour was that one earlier? Oh, it was a blue soldier too.
Yes.
So it would work in this deck.
Flying. Whenever you attack with 5 or more soldiers, relevant soldier tribal deck straight away. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain flying till end of turn, and it's a 3/2.
Instantly just reading that, it's a 1/1. It's a 1 white and a blue, or white and a blue, sorry, for a 3/2 human flyer.
Yeah, sick.
My human deck, most humans are either soldiers, knights, or clerics and whatnot. And if I have 5,
You got many soldiers? Yeah.
I think I got a few.
Yeah, you might even have 5.
Yeah, and when you attack with them all, they're only at +1/+1 and flying.
And it's all creatures you control, not just the soldiers. So you're gonna be able to jump over someone's whole defense. He's flying a helicopter. That's pretty cool.
And Marathon counts as everything, so Marathon's a soldier as well.
True. Yeah. So you've already got 2 with him down. 3/2 flyer for 2 is great by itself. Its ability, if you can get it, you might win the game. I think this is gas.
It's almost a win con for humans if you can get other soldiers in it.
Yeah, it's even like an aggro deck if you play it as a commander and just play lots of small drop soldiers.
Even what is it? Does Elspeth, does she make soldiers?
I think so. Yeah, something like that.
I think she might make human soldiers. So having her partner with him.
Yeah, she's making 2 with escape. So that's Elspeth in this deck is unreal.
If you had it like that, that would be a way to get your soldiers out. And you can block with a shit ton of soldiers, attack with a shit ton of soldiers, get your abilities, swing in for what? And soldiers are generally 2/2s, and they're white soldiers as well. So if you can say all white creatures get indestructible.
Yeah, and even there's that raise the alarm 1 and a white instant make 2 1/1 soldiers that you play this card, you play that card. You've already got 4 out of the 5 soldiers ready to go. You can build this super quick. I think this is a sick budget deck.
I reckon it could be a very good budget deck. All you have to do is find soldiers.
Find soldiers, cheap counter spells like Spell Pierce. You can stop board wipes. Most people are tapping out to play the board wipe at turn 4 or 5, not often, keeping 2 mana up for it, you can be protected until turn 8 easily, and like, you're doing 30 damage by then easy by then.
You're probably this would be a win con once you got the amount of soldiers. It's a win con because as soon as you attack with 5 soldiers,
True.
it's
Even
and
if
this
you
card doesn't have to attack for its
Yes.
effect either.
very true. Just put it down, swing the 5 soldiers already, well, swing with everything, and everything's getting in.
Yeah, as long as if you have a card that's like everyone, or even if you can't, there's a card that's like you gain flying, everybody else can't have flying. So even just having
True.
like that.
Yeah, you're gonna like flying's hard enough by itself. If you can turn their flying off, you're getting through
Especially
for a
for
lot of
humans
damage.
as well, because humans don't have too many flyers, and this will work very well. So this, if I do get Harbin and Hijab, they're probably going to go into my human deck and
Yeah.
just fit in nicely.
Yeah, this set is good for your human deck.
And Artificers.
Yep, and yeah, very nice.
So this one is
Yes, very cool card.
Surge Engine. It is 2 colorless. It's an artifact creature construct. It is a 3/2, so a much better, stronger than a bear, but will still die to a bear. But it is a defender for a blue. So Surge Engine loses defender and gains this creature can't be blocked. Which for 1 blue, that's very good.
Yeah, for 1 blue, you're hitting them for 3. That's good. That's good. That's a lightning bolt.
Then 2 and a blue, this card becomes blue and has the base power and toughness of 5/4. Activate only if Surge Engine doesn't have defender. So if you've got 4 mana open, it's becoming a 5/4 unblockable.
Oh yeah, that's juicy, and that's not even the full text.
Then the last one is for 4 blue, draw 3 cards, activate only if Surge Engine is blue and only once.
Only if it's blue. When does it become blue?
That's just the second ability.
Okay, so if
So you have to do them in order. So you have to have
10 mana?
You have to have 10 mana open for it. But
10 mana, you can draw 3 cards, hit for a 5/4, unblockable. Not bad.
I think it's only once a turn, once a game, once a dual effect. So it says and only once.
It's blue and only once. Very true. That's interesting.
Unless it's meaning because you activate that when you can only do that once, and then you can do it again the next turn, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. Like, yeah, maybe if it's saying you can't pay the 6 mana twice and do that twice.
Yeah.
But why not? It's over 10 mana. People win the game with 10 mana. I think that's
yeah.
a weird limitation.
I mean, the first 2 abilities are brilliant. I mean, having that, yes, if you've got the mana, if you don't have cards to cast and you've got the mana for it, just go.
It's just a cherry on top, really. And the I don't know if I'll show the promo art in the video. The promo art is unreal. This looks awesome. This is a mythic as well, by the way. So a 3/2 for 2 defenders, whatever. 1 mana blue, you can start hitting them with them. 3 mana, you start hitting with them for a lot. This is awesome card. This is gas, I think.
Yeah. I reckon it's definitely
Like
gas.
I'm thinking even Yukiro can go in. Obviously 3 mana to be able to hit him is not as good as a 1/1 for 1 like turn 1, but being unblockable is invaluable in a ninja's deck.
For sure.
Lovely. So we're actually finished. Oh yeah, you saying gas?
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
it's gas.
Yeah.
And now we're doing the honorable bears.
Yes.
Honor bear.
Honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Is a card with an actual bear on it.
So
this
it's
is
called Fade from History. It is 2 green, and it has a pup bear and 2 parent bears or 2 pups and a mother bear.
Yeah, each player who controls an artifact or enchantment creates a 2/2 green bear creature token, then destroy all artifact and enchantments.
And it's a sorcery spell too.
Yeah, I didn't actually read this. I just saw it was bear that put in the folder, but this is pretty gas.
It is very gas. And it's also a rare too.
Yeah, it doesn't say for each artifact enchantment, so they get 1. It's 4 mana for an artifact enchantment board wipe, which is pretty sweet.
And you also get a 2/2 green bear.
Correct. Yeah, and there's already cards that do that without the bear. Obviously, the bear can go to them, which, that sucks a little bit, but a 2/2 to wipe out their Soul Ring and a Signet, I'd do that. Like, that's sick.
Yeah.
Especially if they got Lightning Greaves.
Even yourself too, each player who controls, so you're destroying your all, even yourself, you're getting rid of your own artifact from the end. So if you have none, turn 4 play this, everyone's like Soul Rings and
Yeah,
and all
bringing
the
down
shit.
3 turns. obviously this deck's not great with artifacts.
No.
I've got decks that hate on artifact enchantments that I run not many, but you got to run a few, I think, and like you just take the L to ruin everyone else's day.
As long as you're not really playing artifacts or enchantments, this will destroy any artifact deck that you make for this series. And just having this, especially being heavy artifacts, I reckon it could be pretty decent.
Yeah, I think this is gas. I think Commander specifically has been relying on artifacts and enchantments too much recently, we got to bring back the hate, just for artifacts and enchantments, nothing else. But yeah, I think this is gas, and a nice little wrap up for our bear talk. These are all the bears that I've found in Brothers War. I wrote all these down when all the spoilers weren't out, so there might have been some since, and I think one of the files didn't load, so we might have missed one of the almost bears. But otherwise, yeah, this is a pretty good set for bears.
It's very good for 2 drops.
Yeah, some very impactful ones. Some, meh, but you gotta have some average ones to make the good ones look better.
And especially if you're drafting, you can't always get the good cards, so you have to try and find ways to make the bad cards good, or find ways around what you've got.
Yeah, very true. And at the end of the day, the bad bears are still bears, so, not that bad overall. But thank you so much for listening, guys. We managed to stress it out to over an hour somehow. I didn't think there were that many cards, but, we love to talk about Magic. We will talk all night if no one stops the recording. So thank you so much for being on the show, Jared.
No problem, Joe. Thanks for having me.
You are very welcome. Jared's going to be a regular guest here. And yeah, we'll catch you next time, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Like and subscribe. And let us know in the comments any bears that we missed, what your favorite bear was. And we're going to be talking about just bears through all the sets eventually. So any of the bears that you think are the best bear overall in all of Magic. Yeah, I've started writing down some of the lists. But yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, guys. Catch you next time.